Hi there. Today we'll be discussing spinal cord anatomy and location of each tracts. Today we'll be talking about spinal cord structure and the tract. So spinal cord is a well organized structure, cylindrical in shape, and that is then within the vertebral canal. So it starts from the foramen magnum as a continuation of medulla oblongata. Then it will be descending down in our spinal cord till the lumbar level. So the length of the spinal cord is estimated around 45 centimeter in men and 43 centimeter in women. It is divided into 31 segments, 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccyx. So total we have 31 pairs of spinal nerves coming from the spinal cord. If we look into the spinal cord section, it's actually containing motor, sensory, and autonomic fibers. And the spinal cord, told it is having 31 pairs of nerve roots. They will be coming out of the intervertebral foramen cord. We also see some enlargement at particular area. One is at the cervical and one is at the lumbar. From here, there are so many nerves coming to the upper limb and lower limb. The cross-sectional view of the spinal cord, we can see sulci and fissures in the spinal cord. Same like in the brain, the sulcus and gyrus. So we have major two sulcus, that is anterior and posterior in the spinal cord. It is called as anterior median sulcus or ventral medial sulcus, and posteriorly we have dorsal medial sulcus, and anteriorly and posteriorly little bit sideways we have, so dorsally we have dorsal intermediate sulcus and anteriorly we have anterolateral sulcus. So from each of these lateral sulcus nerve roots will come out. Anterior nerve roots will come out from the anterolateral sulcus. Posterior nerve roots will come out from the posterolateral sulcus. Other than this, you can see in the center part there is a small opening that is for the CSF. Continuation of fourth ventricle, it is called as central canal. So through the central canal, CSF will pass from the top to down. Let's dive in more deeper. So this is now about the internal morphology of the spinal cord. Gray matter you can see here, it is named for the structure like backside it is named as dorsal horn, middle it is named as lateral or intermediate horn of the gray matter, and anterior it is ventral horn of the gray. The gray matter is in the center part, that is in H shaped or like a butterfly shape you can see in the center area. Things containing in the gray matter is neuronal cell bodies, dendrites, interneurons, glial cells, astrocytes, microglia. Like that, many cells are there which all contain in the gray matter. Also, the gray matter is divided into lamina. There are 10 lamina which is starting from the posterior to the anterior area. It is numbered from 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10. 10 is in the center part. So the lamina in the posterior aspect majorly contains sensory fibers. Anterior lamina carries usually motor fibers. Our alpha motor neurons are existing in the anterior aspect. Now let's look into the white matter. So white matter is the surroundings area of the gray matter. Now to the white matter, it is consisting of myelinated axons and it is carrying information from the brain or towards the brain. Now it is divided into three funiculi. First one is anterior, second one is posterior, third one is the lateral. So the anterior funiculi is between the anterior lateral sulci and anterior median fissure. The posterior funiculi between posterior lateral and posterior median sulci, and the lateral is between the anterior and posterior roots. Now the ascending fibers location. So you can see in this picture the dorsal column medial lemniscus DCML. It is in the posterior aspect. There again there is subdivision. One is FC fasciculus cuneate and other one is FG fasciculus gracilis. That part fasciculus gracilis is carrying the fibers from the lower area of the body, and fasciculus cuneate carries information from the upper part of the body like your hand, upper trunk, and from there it will go to her center. Now in the more sideway you can see cerebellar tract, spinocerebellar tract, starting from the spine and going to the cerebellum. Again there is subdivision, spinocerebellar posterior and spinocerebellar anterior tract. The last one is the spinothalamic tract, which we discussed in the previous video, that is pain pathway. Spinothalamic tract also we have lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract. One more ascending tract is spino-olivary tract. Spino-olivary goes to the olivary nucleus in the brainstem. So now you might have noticed that specific body part sending fibers to the specific area in the spinal cord. So this is called as somatotopic organization. It is nothing but mapping of specific body area in the specific location in the spinal cord. It is same like our motor homunculus and sensory homunculus in the brain. Similarly, we have representation of body part in the spinal cord as well. Based on the motor and sensory deficit, we can identify the injured location in the spinal cord. Now, in this slide, all the ascending tracts and its function and location is summarized. Now, descending tracts, majorly we have pyramidal tract and extrapyramidal tract. Pyramidal tract is nothing but our corticospinal tract, starting from the vertical area, coming to the spinal cord. Then it will be supplying for the upper limb, lower limb, and trunk. This is the tract which is helping us to all the voluntary activities. Than this, there are tracts coming from the higher cortical area, but not starting from the cortex, from the subcortical area. The extrapyramidal tract, they are rubrospinal tract, reticulospinal tract, olivospinal tract, and vestibulospinal tract. Corticospinal tract we discussed already, which is starting from the cortex to the spinal cord, helping us for the voluntary movement. Now, what are the other extrapyramidal tract? The rubrospinal tract starting from the red nucleus in the brainstem, which is helping majorly for our flexor tone activity in the upper limb. Vestibulospinal tract is starting from the vestibular nuclei, which is providing us extensor muscle tone and anti-gravity muscle activity. The third one, reticulospinal tract, starting from the reticular formation of the brainstem, helpful for locomotion and postural control. The last one, tectospinal tract, starting from the superior colliculus of the brainstem, connected with the head and eye movements and other reflexive activities. Also, somatotopically organized in the spinal cord. The summary of these descending tracts given in this table